This is the site of the old Parkhurst bridge. The only thing what's left is the old girder, what would have been at top of the bridge. It's a crying shame. Them mills there would have been right up to edge at towpath. In its heyday, it would have been a really busy length of canal, because the old coal boats coming out of the loading bay arm near Agecroft colliery would have come down here, gone under Parkhurst bridge and headed down through Salford. Today you get to the other side of Parkhurst bridge, you've got to walk down a rather slippy, overgrown slope to get down to original level at towpath. The problem with derelict canals when they're not working, people like chucking stuff in, like this, a lot of tyres from a garage. How careless to chuck it in the water. At Parkhouse Bridge, the canal emerges for the first time in its 2.5 mile course from the airwell to emerge in water for the first time. Unfortunately, people have tipped in it. What a magnificent canal. As you can see, John, towpath's really overgrown. You've got to be so careful because we're walking on copper edge there. You could easily fall into the water. It's a shame because underneath all that garbage there'll be some nice stone cobbles just waiting to come out and shine in the sunlight. We could be in the middle of some Amazonian rainforest, but no, we're on the towpath of the derelict Manchester-Bolton Bury Canal in Salford, and this is a classic example. The canal fell into dereliction, people don't use the towpath, it gets overgrown, and then you can't use the towpath because it encroaches everywhere. He's cutting back and sorting out. You can see problem with derelict canals, John. Boats haven't used this section in an awful long time. Towpaths become overgrown, stopping people walking through it. Because no one's using it, it's getting even more overgrown. So it's like a catch-22 situation. If you don't use it, you lose it, which is a shame because it's our heritage. Quite a nice section this. I just wish towpath could be improved a little bit. It's quite pleasant. You're sort of leaving all the urban stuff behind you and you're beginning your walk into a nice open countryside with a bit of fresh air. Hi John, this is a fascinating length of canal. Over to my right used to be the site of Agecroft colliery, what was served by its own loading bay arm. Here boats could come off the main line of the canal, go under like a covered walkway, and at that point coal wagons would come down the hillside and they would dispose of the coal in the waiting boats below. From there they could go on, rejoin the main line of the canal and take the coal where it was required. Hi John, what we're looking at here now is the old loading bay arm that served Agecroft colliery. Them big cast iron tubes, if you want to call them that, basically they were like supports of a bridge, and over that there used to be a bit of a wooden decking, and bogies carrying coal used to come down the hillside from the pit. They'd go over on top of the piers and then they'd eject the coal into the waiting boats below. So it was quite a busy place, and then the boats could sail out farther up and continue on their merry way. And that's all what remains of the wooden decking where the old bogie used to go on and discharge its coal into the waiting boats below. This section, John, it's between Parkhouse Bridge and Agecroft Road. Originally it would have been a pretty busy section, but since the boat stopped coming down here, probably in the late 40s, early 1950s, it's just become overgrown and it's unwanted. But underneath all that, if you get rid of all them brambles and you give it a good clean up, you've got a beautiful old canal under there. All that wonderful masonry being obscured by vegetation. Hi John, this is the old Jewish cemetery at Agecroft. And here we are John, we've nearly arrived at Agecroft Road Bridge. And what I'm looking at now John is a really old canal company wall. What makes it interesting is that a lot of it's built out of stone rather than brick. And these stone blocks John, these were rescued when the first bit of the canal near the river was reopened. All this stonework is off the upper part of the staircase lock. It's awaiting reuse elsewhere, maybe at Knob End. Hi John, what we're looking at now is a milestone. Unfortunately, frost has got behind the face and a lot of it's fallen off. Hiya John, we're now beneath Agecroft Road Bridge. Unfortunately, there's a bridge plate. What's a shame about it is they're not even accurate. If they'd done the homework, it's not Bridge 9 at all. Yeah, pity that. I'm sorry, but if you're going to spend all that money getting these bridge plates done, at least make them accurate, you know what I mean? That structure is not Bridge 9A. Why they've done that, I'll never know. If they would have done it properly, it would have been wonderful. But what a waste of money. And it's not true to its original structure. This was the site of some early Canal Society boat rallies, where water in the canal at that point actually allowed people to sail on it. Not something you could do today though. Hi John, as you can see, this used to be an old railing fence, and for some reason this tree's grown up and it's bent all the railings, so they're not much cop, and it's probably not doing the tree much cop either. We've got some amazing wash wall along this length, John. Looking at exquisite stonework, bit of bricking and a stone capping. An amazing piece of walling. At this point, John, the canal widens to form Agecroft Canal Basin. At this point, boats could turn round and go back to Salford if required. Along this section, John, the old railway that linked Bolton to Manchester runs parallel with it, and what it means is that the canal becomes quite narrow at this point, pulling only just enough width for one boat to get past. Hey John, at this point you can see the old canal retaining wall is coming away due to lack of maintenance. All we need is a bit of money, pull these banks in and get it sorted. In this area, John, there used to be a lot of coal mines, and what it created was subsidence. And here on the canal, if you look, you can see how the banks had to be built up. If you didn't build the banks up, all the water would run out and escape. So subsidence was a real problem for the canal, and it plagued it till the end. Behind me is the site of the old Agecroft power station that used to be right outside the canal. Today it's Forest Bank Prison. Along this section, John, you've got a few trees which have decided in their wisdom to go out the canal banks. Not a good idea, could lose our water through there. At intervals along the canal, you get to points where it goes really narrow, and this is called a stop gate. Here, grooves were cut into the stonework, one here and one there, and within the grooves you could put big stop planks, and what it did, it formed what's called a coffer dam. So if you wanted to drain that section, you could lift the paddle, what would have been here, and drain it, or vice versa. An ingenious form of maintenance. We've come across an old milestone, John. The M stood for Manchester, and it was 3.5 miles from Oldfield Road at Salford. Interestingly, the canal started at Salford, so why didn't they use an S instead of an M? At this point on the canal, John, you've got a brick dam which is built across it. and this is here because there's a small aqueduct just farther up which has been demolished. To stop the water running away, they put this in, and there used to be a pipe which is now non-existent. Hiya John, this is all what remains of the old Lum's Lane Aqueduct. Unfortunately it was demolished because we needed road access to get to a factory nearby. What we're looking at, John, is all what remains of the old Lum's Lane Aqueduct, and this is where the arch used to be. So we're going over here, over there, and join in there. Amazing. Hiya John, we're now looking inside where the aqueduct used to be, and the exquisite masonry. What we're looking at, John, is some old stone slab walling which was a common feature of North Country canals like the Manchester, Bolton and Bury. And this is the old colliery basin of the old Clifton Colliery, which is long gone. It would have been a busy place once upon a time. It was a massive basin, and you would have had coal being tipped into waiting boats below. Amazing. It's amazing, John, look at the quality of that stonework. It's the entrance to the old colliery harbour of the now defunct Clifton Colliery. What fabulous stonework it is. To me, John, this is where the stock groove used to go in, but it looks like you maybe had some sort of let-off paddle or something because there's a bit of ironwork going on there. Well, we're now stood inside the colliery basin. Once upon a time this would have been full of boats, we would have been tipping coal into waiting boats, and it would have been a hive of activity. What we're looking at, John, are the old wash walls of the colliery basin. Get a nice bit of brickwork and a lovely stone coping which is obscured by that stuff. They were well built, this colliery basin, and in its day it would have been so busy and it would have been fantastic. Wish you could go back in time and have a look. What we're looking at, John, I believe, is the foundation or base of the old colliery tipper. Wagons of coal would have come at that point, then it would have been tipped into the waiting boats below, and then it would have sailed off on the way probably to Salford. We're now at the other side of the tippler. You never know, though, looking at them metal bars, it could have been a crane here what actually lifted the boxes down to the boats. We'll never know, but fascinating all the same. It's most likely, John, I'll say these sort of pits were shut in the sort of like 1920s, 1930s, just became uneconomic and were thus left. During the war, it was decided that this section of the canal was to be drained, and they were sort of worried that enemy bombers might follow the reflection of the water all the way to Salford and Manchester. So what they did, they drained the canal. Unfortunately, they decided never to put the water back, and it remains dry to this day. It's nice, John, to have a good bit of solid towpath. Here, they've resurfaced it, and it's a delight to walk upon. Not like that section near Parkhurst Bridge. Well, we're 3.75 miles from Oldfield Road, Salford now, John. What's nice about this section of canal is we're leaving the industry behind and we're getting out into open countryside and a bit of fresh air. At this point, a short section of canal has been infilled and it's owned by chloride. Fortunately for us, we can still go along the towpath. The canal is infilled on my right and it's owned by chloride. To the left is the River Owl, and what a picturesque spot it is as well. Hey John, we're now still on the chloride section. It's back into water, but rather overgrown, and someone's chopped a few trees down and chucked it into the water. What's a shame, you've got the towpath here, but you can't get to the water because of the fence. And I understand about security and everything, but it looks a right mess. And it's a shame, isn't it? Because the bottom line, it was our heritage. At this point, John, you've got a bit of an overflow. What goes underneath towpath, into this open channel, under that embankment, and it goes down to the river. So if there's too much water in the old canal, it can drain off. What we've got, John, we've got an old stop plank, and amazingly we've still got the cast iron handle in place. You don't see that very often, and it's very unusual to find it. It's certainly quite thick, John. It was a hefty, bulky, big massive plank, if you want to call it that, and it had to be big so that when you put them in the grooves, in the stop gates, you could make the cofferdam. An impressive piece of timber, and it's wonderful to see the cast iron handle there. Here we are, John, we're at Oxbridge near Clifton. You've got another bridge plate there, but numbers wrong. And here, you've got one of all bridge guards. So when horses were coming dragging the bolts, the rope didn't snag into the masonry and damage it. So you had these cast iron bridge things, which stopped that. Amazing. Here is the old 13 Arches Railway viaduct, and used to be East Lancashire Railway, what crossed canal and went up valley to Agecroft. It's gone now, but it's a wonderful structure, and at least it survives. At this point we're at Clifton Junction. The canal goes to my right over Clifton Aqueduct. If you go straight on, you've got Fletcher's Canal. Hi John, we're now looking at the junction of the Manchester Bolton Bury Canal and the Fletcher's Canal. Over to our left is Clifton Aqueduct that crosses the River Irwell. We're now looking at Clifton Aqueduct. What a magnificent structure it is, and it still stands to this day. What we're looking at, John, now is one of the arches of the magnificent Clifton Aqueduct. It's a Grade 2 listed structure, and it's been here since the 1790s.